This is BBC London with me, Assad Ahmed. Coming up on the programme, receiving thousands of pounds of fines after having his car cloned. The difficulty the true car owner had to prove he was innocent.
CCTV images of my car being at my workplace, hotel confirmations, we had groceries that I brought in Scotland and they rejected it.
Also coming up this evening, a world first, how artificial intelligence is being used to speed up skin cancer diagnosis using a camera and a phone app. The rare pair of otter pups taking their first swim in the warm weather. We try to catch a glimpse of them at London Zoo. Yeah, and the golden buzzer moment on Britain's Got Talent, which propelled a rock band from Hertfordshire into the live semi-finals. Good evening. We begin with a follow-up on a story we brought you about car cloning. It's when criminals steal or copy another car's registration plate, which then means fines and offences are sent to the legitimate car owner instead. It's stressful for the victim because it's up to them to prove they've done nothing wrong. But a viewer who got in touch with us after seeing our investigation says that even when he declared that his innocence was proven, well, that still wasn't enough for Transport for London to drop its action. Here's Jessica Ewer.
Ethan has had fines in the thousands over the last few months. And even though they're all addressed to him and even reference his car, he didn't actually commit the offences. He's been the victim of car cloning.
Because of the amount of tickets that we got through, all of a sudden, I was worrying that I was going to continue getting more and more, because I think we must have had about 10 come through the letterbox, and we didn't want any more coming through. So the police generally advised, saying the quickest way to get rid of your number plate would be to purchase a private number plate and then report it to the DVLA, which we did.
But Ethan's car continues to be flagged by cameras and even the police. And although Ethan kept submitting evidence to prove it wasn't his car being caught, one organisation refused to accept it.
The other companies, including the police, accepted our evidence, and we got notification that they had got rid of the tickets. But for Transport for London, it has been going on since August 2024. And it's still continuing to go on now, just not accepting the evidence. CCTV images of my car being at my workplace, hotel confirmations, we had groceries that I brought in Scotland, and they rejected it and said it wasn't significant evidence. I phoned Transport for London and said I've had a letter from the police which confirms that there's another car out there using my number plates, and they wouldn't accept it as new evidence because they had already denied my claim of appeal.
It's taken a toll on the whole family, and they've looked into getting a solicitor at a further cost of £1,500.
To have these letters about going to court and court fines and the fines just rising has just been even more stressful. I'm just so cross that they just don't seem to care. They have no... my son hasn't done anything wrong. Even without the police letter, we have more than enough evidence with the ferry tickets and the CCTV of his car to prove that it wasn't him and the photos of his car. And they just don't care. All they're concerned about is their money.
Ethan isn't alone. Car cloning is on the rise, with the BBC investigation finding a sharp increase in fines being cancelled due to cloning. Online retailer Amazon recently banned the sale of car number plates altogether after the same investigation found they were being supplied illegally. But once cloning has happened, it's a long and costly process to sort. In a last attempt to avoid court, Ethan has come to Peterborough magistrates to resubmit his evidence.
My appeal was rejected by Transport for London. So the next stage was to make a declarational statement, and that needs to be signed by either a solicitor, a barrister or a secretary of a court. So that is the stage I'm at today. So that's all sorted, 6 signatures, £180, and it took less than 3 minutes. And I don't even know if it's going to be worth it.
We wrote to TfL and they have since issued Ethan with an apology. They told us in a statement they had not received sufficient evidence to support Ethan's case, but having reviewed it, they've now cancelled all of the penalties. But the letters have kept on coming, and in the last few days this one's arrived with a threat of bailiffs. Although TfL accept that Ethan has indeed been the victim of car cloning, the road back to normal feels like a long way off. Jessica Ewer, BBC London.
And if you'd like to get in touch with us like Ethan did, we're interested to hear from you, whether it's about car cloning or something else. Just email us to this address, hello@bbclondon@bbc.co.uk. And that's our top story tonight. But let's take a look at what's still coming up on the programme before 7.
I'll have the build up to the 170th boat race and the capital rivalry at the heart of it as Oxford and Cambridge prepare to do battle once more here on the Thames.
A London hospital is claiming a global first after using groundbreaking artificial intelligence software to diagnose skin cancer. Chelsea and Westminster says the AI is so effective, they're confident it'll help patients to get life-saving checks without having to see a doctor. Layla Hayes has more.
Yeah, if you close your eyes for me. Yeah, perfect.
Checking for skin cancer using artificial intelligence. At Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, staff now use a smartphone with a magnifying lens to take photos of moles and lesions. The images are then transferred to a computer where an AI app can diagnose a patient in seconds.
We wouldn't be able to keep up with the numbers of patients that are coming through as urgent skin cancer referrals without this. So, you know, without this additional AI sort of within our system, I don't think we would manage, and patients then would be missed, they would be waiting and wouldn't get their diagnosis in a timely fashion.
So it's life-changing, really?
I think it is, yeah.
The hospital has now taken the groundbreaking decision to use the AI tool to discharge patients who don't have cancer without them even having to see a doctor.
Chelsea and Westminster gets around 7,000 urgent skin cancer referrals every year. The vast majority of those turn out to be harmless, and using AI means patients can now be given the all clear much, much quicker.
Patients like Jimmy Povey. When his brother was diagnosed with melanoma, Jimmy realised he too had a mole in the same place that needed checking and headed to hospital.
They took a picture, that was it. It might have been the day after or the day after that. I got a phone call and they just said, Mr. Povey, it's nothing, it's a mole, nothing to worry about. And so, you know, all that gone, all the worry. It was within, I would say, maximum 2 days.
And how do you feel about the fact that that's all down to artificial intelligence?
Just amazing.
Thousands of patients have now been assessed through the AI system, and doctors say one day it could even be used by patients themselves.
The idea is definitely to get this closer to patients so that they can benefit from it. At the moment, that technology is limited because obviously you need this specialist dermoscopic lens, which members of the public wouldn't necessarily have access to. But I'm sure with time the technology will advance and we'll have effective apps that patients can access from the comfort of their own homes.
Faster detection is now bringing down waiting lists, and staff here say that's all thanks to artificial intelligence. Layla Hayes, BBC London.
Well, now let's take a moment to look at some more local stories in the headlines today. A woman who murdered her 2 young sons has been sentenced to life imprisonment. Cara Alexander from Dagenham was found guilty of murdering her 2- and 5-year-old sons in their bath in their home in December 2022. She's been sentenced to a minimum term of 21 years in jail. Busking in Leicester Square has been suspended after Global Radio, whose headquarters are in the square, complained about the noise. The company, which owns Heart Radio, Capital and LBC, took Westminster Council to court to have buskers removed, while the council lost the case and must comply with the order. Croydon Council is facing criticism as nearly a third of its CCTV cameras are out of action. Experts warn the gaps in surveillance are putting the public at risk and undermining crime prevention efforts. Croydon Council says it's working with police to make the borough safer. And passengers at some Elizabeth Line stations can now see which carriages are busier than others. The technology works by displaying live loadway data, which is a calculation on how full a carriage is based on the weight. Transport for London says it'll help commuters choose a quieter space for a more comfortable journey. Now, the annual university boat race between Oxford and Cambridge takes place on the River Thames this Sunday. Hundreds of thousands of people will line the 4¼ mile route. And as well as the university rivalry, this year there's a North versus South London rivalry too. Chris Legg is by the river and he can tell us more. Chris.
That's a beautiful evening down here by the river. Now, it may not be at the heart of the national consciousness in the way that it used to be, but it is still one of the most watched, most famous amateur sporting events in the world. And there will be huge crowds down here on the banks of the Thames. And as you mentioned, a bit of added spice from a London perspective this year. Let's hear a bit more now about that crosstown capital rivalry at the heart of the men's race. When the men's crews go head-to-head for the 170th time this Sunday, it won't just be Oxford against Cambridge, but North London against South London. Cambridge's Luca Ferrara is a North Londoner and a very happy Arsenal fan.
I grew up in the shadow of the Emirates through some tougher times as I was growing up, so it's nice to be in the sun these days.
You're going to take inspiration from what they did then onto the water on Sunday?
So bash a couple free kicks in over the course, so no. It's a slightly different kettle of fish, but I guess maybe a similar number of people watching probably.
Oxford's James Duran is a proud South Londoner.
I'm a really big fan of Putney actually. I'm very, very happy to be quite local to here. And I've sort of always grown up going for walks along the bank here, and it's just glorious in the sunshine in the summer. And actually this week's not doing too badly either.
So how do the rowers plan to contend with the poor water quality of the Thames, with environmental group River Action this week calling for an urgent clean-up?
It is concerning, and I do think it's got worse actually over my time rowing here. I've been here for about 10, 11 years, and obviously it's something the rowers are very concerned about. We're doing everything we can to sort of wash our hands, like shower regularly. After every session now, I'll clean out my water bottle, I'll wash it pretty meticulously.
Cambridge have had the better of it in recent years, winning 5 of the last 6 men's races and 7 women's races in a row. So will they continue to exert their dominance this weekend, or can Oxford turn the tide? Having been a part of the last 2 winning crews, Luca is hoping for a personal hat-trick.
It's a kind of indescribable feeling to go through that much work, 6 months of really grueling training and a lot of sacrifice. You have to sort of put your life on hold a bit to kind of balance the studies and the training. So to have it all pay off in the end with such a close bunch of mates is an unbelievable feeling, really.
Oxford or Cambridge, the River Thames awaits its boat race champions of 2025. Well, it was a lot colder when we filmed that piece on Wednesday, as you could probably tell from the coat I was wearing. A beautiful evening tonight, a real friendship between the crews as well as the rivalry. But there has been controversy this year because a few weeks back Oxford objected to the presence of 3 of the Cambridge rowers for studying PGCE courses, not full degrees, 2 in the women's crew, 1 in the men's crew, and that objection was upheld. So Cambridge had to change their plans in the final few weeks in the run-up to this race, and that just adds a bit of added tension. Now it all begins here, the women's race first, down at Putney Bridge on Sunday afternoon, and then the crews will head 4¼ miles westward along the river. You might just be able to catch the Riverside stand, the new Riverside stand of Fulham Football Club Craven Cottage on the corner there, and they continue round. We can look now at the full route. They continue round under Hammersmith Bridge and past Chiswick Pier, onwards, winding beyond and under Barnesbridge, and then eventually they reach the end in Mortlake, just short of Chiswick Bridge. And it has been pretty much an identical course throughout the full history of this race. The first men's race taking place way back in 1829. Such a history to it. It is dubbed now as the party on the river because there is always a tremendous atmosphere down here. Come on down here on Sunday afternoon if you can. If not, there is a live coverage on BBC One starting at 12:20. Assad.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And it'll be a bonus if it's looking as beautiful down there as it is tonight. Thanks very much for that. Now, the Metropolitan Police have mimicked a scene from Only Fools and Horses to convict 2 rogue street traders on Westminster Bridge. Take a look at this and look closely, because the Batman and Robin are circled and they're actually Metropolitan Police officers in disguise to catch 2 criminals who regularly target tourists on the bridge. Kostika Babu was then convicted and fined at Croydon Magistrates Court, but the other man, Eugen Stoica, has fled the country. There's more on that story on our website. Incredible. Now to a heroic firefighter from the Second World War who bravely drove lorries carrying petrol through the streets of London while London was being bombed. She did it to supply fuel to fire engines. Well, Gillian Tanner worked out of Bermondsey and was awarded the George Medal for her courage. Today, her family visited London, and meeting them was Alice Bandikravi.
Preceded by a shower of flares, German bombers rained fire and high explosive bombs in their most savage attack on London.
The Blitz is sometimes referred to as the second Great Fire of London. Such was the intensity of bombing on the capital. At the tender age of 19, Gillian Tanner, who was also known as Bobby, immediately signed up to the Auxiliary Fire Service to support the London Fire Brigade in its hour of need.
During the most difficult times during the war, she was out supplying our fire engines so they could respond to London throughout the war to make sure that we're able to keep those people and respond as much as we can. And her acts of bravery and courage are testament and stand true as some of the values that we hold dear today.
Women will be needed as drivers.
World War II gave women at home the opportunity to directly contribute to the war effort, and Gillian's heroism, driving petrol through the burning streets to supply the fire engines, earned her a George Medal for bravery. Today, her family got to see the fireboat named in her honour.
I didn't realise the connection and the value people put on her and what she'd done until today.
The London Fire Brigade have also named their leadership scheme after Gillian Tanner, so that future generations of personnel will know who she was.
She was strong-willed and determined, and if something had to be done, she'd get on and do it. They felt that our grandmother Bobby was a good leader, and for people to aspire to be like her and a good example of leadership, which, yeah, I think she was.
Gillian's was a life well lived. After her heroics in the war, she went on to race cars in Monte Carlo and train racehorses.
She had a need for speed.
She did, and adrenaline.
Was she an adrenaline junkie?
Yes, I think that's what you class her as today.
Yes, anything with speed.
And a bit of danger attached.
But she'll be best remembered as one of the quiet heroes who helped her city survive its darkest hour. Alice Bandikravi, BBC London.
An incredible woman, Gillian Tanner there. And with a month to go until the 80th anniversary of VE Day, we're looking for photos, memories and treasured family stories from the time. If you'd like to share them with us, if you have them, you can do so on WhatsApp. The number is 0808 100 2220. Or scan the QR code, which is on your screen now, that will take you to the WhatsApp page, or email us at hello@bbclondon@bbc.co.uk. Well, now to something to make you go, ah. 3-month-old Otter pups have been enjoying the sunshine and feel it's now warm enough to take their first dip. The rare Asian small-clawed otters live at London Zoo, and Lakshmi has been finding out how they and their parents are doing.
The otters have decided to take shelter from this hot sunshine and are having a bit of a siesta. But a little bit earlier, we did see the family come out and splash around in the water to keep cool, 2 parents and 2 pups. Now, their species, the Asian small-clawed otter, is vulnerable. And so the 2 pups are a really important part of conservation here at London Zoo. And I spoke to Amy McKillop, who has the enviable role of otter keeper.
We have a pair of otters, Midge and Siam, that's mum and dad. This lovely pair was born on the 5th of January, so they're just creeping up to 3 months old now, which is really exciting. Otters are usually born quite underdeveloped, so they take quite a long time to start coming out of their holt or their home. So around 2 to 3 months is when you start seeing them come out for the first time.
And they have recently gone into the water for the first time, and that's quite a key development, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So Otter's first swim is a very integral part of their development. Mum and Dad have been very vigilant. Dad in particular, Siam, he has been very particular about keeping them out of the water when he feels it's not safe, whereas Mum is much more keen to get them developed, get them going. In they go, they can learn to swim as they work it out.
Throw them in at the deep end.
Absolutely, that's the philosophy that she believes in, that's for sure.
Now, can you bust some otter myths for us? Do otters like to collect pebbles and rocks?
Well, these guys certainly like to play with them, so they do love playing with pebbles and stones. They will lie on their back, as people have heard, and they will kind of juggle them, and they'll pass them over their chest and between their paws, and then back down. It's often just a play behaviour. It's not really known exactly why they do it, but it's a very adorable behaviour to watch.
Very adorable, and you have the best job in London.
Absolutely. I mean, working with these otters, especially now the pup's been born, has just been wonderful.
Amy McKillop with London's best job there, speaking to Lakshmi Gopal. Now let's take a look ahead to Sunday and Politics London.
It's London's busiest station, but how can London Liverpool Street meet growing passenger numbers whilst preserving its Victorian heritage? Do join me, Victoria Hollins, this Sunday at 10 on BBC One.
This group from Hemel Hempstead, called Electric Umbrella, managed to get Britain's Got Talent head judge Simon Cowell to do what he never does: break the rules for his own show after he saw them perform on stage. The result has been excitement for everyone involved with the group and support flooding in from around the country. Victoria Cook went to meet Electric Umbrella.
An explosion of yellow and pure joy. But Electric Umbrella didn't expect what happened next. A golden pass putting them straight through to the live semi-finals.
My tears just fell like a fountain. And I was just like, did that really just happen? And I was like, we're going to be famous.
I got really happy and like tears flew down my eyes and everything.
Exploding yellow joy is a regular thing here at Electric Umbrella HQ. This is just a normal Tuesday afternoon. A warm-up, not a rehearsal, for their next performance.
Electric Umbrella, no, no, no. We believe very much that the magic is in the moment, and that all that we really have to do, and you can see by the spaces that we create, is you create magic spaces, and then beautiful things can happen within it.
And in those magic spaces, uniquely adapted instruments. Everyone can take part. Their message here is there's no such thing as normal, a message they're now sharing with the world.
The response from everybody everywhere has been so incredibly overwhelming. So much love has been pouring out. So much thanks from people from all over the country that perhaps have a loved one with some kind of learning disability or neurodivergence that have said thank you for the hope, thank you for the difference that you're making to society and perceptions and the way that the world works. So it feels like quite a responsibility to be able to be in this position to make change.
Making change is what Electric Umbrella is all about. The band take their songs into local schools and they run music sessions here in Hemel Hempstead nearly every day.
It feels like we're a family, coming together and enjoying ourselves. And I get to meet people like me and I don't get judged.
That feeling of belonging, mixed with a lot of enthusiasm and joy, is now being packaged up and prepared to be delivered to us all at the live semi-finals in May. But can Electric Umbrella win the whole competition?
Anything's a possibility, isn't it? Anything's possible. I'm really excited.
Victoria Cook, BBC London.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And Darren, earlier we saw Chris by the River Thames. It was looking beautiful. Boat race on Sunday. What's it going to be like then?
Beautiful at the moment. By Sunday, Assad, though, there's going to be more cloud around, there's going to be a stronger breeze, and it's going to be cooler as well. The weather is going to be changing. We've been stuck, if you like, with dry and sunny weather for the most part for quite some time. And it's a very colourful scene here today earlier on at Kew Gardens. That was the warmest place in the country. Temperatures reached 23 Celsius. And heading into the weekend, well, tomorrow is still looking good. It's going to be warm, but then we get this cooler, fresher air arriving for the second half of the weekend. Now, we had more sunshine from the word go today. That meant it was a bit warmer. We've got clear skies overnight tonight. Nothing much happening, very little breeze. It will be a little chilly, perhaps not quite as cold as it's been over the past couple of nights away from the centre of town. Temperatures will be down to about 5 degrees. It'll be a sunny start tomorrow, and it's going to be sunny throughout the morning as well. But gradually, as we head into the afternoon, we see the first signs of change. There's a bit more cloud pushing up from the southwest. It's going to stay dry, though, during the day, and it's still going to be warm. Temperatures not far off those of today, so 21 or 22 degrees. Very high pollen levels, mind you. Now, the high pressure that's brought all this dry and sunny weather is well away from the UK this weekend, heading into Eastern Europe. Pressure is falling, weather fronts on the scene. There could be a bit of rain on Saturday night. It'll be gone by Sunday, but there could be 1 or 2 showers on Sunday, more especially in the morning. Most of the day, I think, is going to be dry. There'll be a limited amount of sunshine because I think there'll be quite a bit of cloud around, but on the whole, it's going to be dry. Those temperatures are going to be lower, so 17 degrees is our top temperature for the second half of the weekend. We're seeing cooler air coming our way together with lower pressure. It's more of a west or southwesterly breeze. It brings the chance of some rain as we head into the week ahead. Don't think there's going to be much rain this weekend, nor indeed on Monday, but Tuesday and Wednesday could see some rain arriving, and then we're back into drier weather for Thursday and Friday, and temperatures lower than what we've got at the moment. Assad.
Aaron, thanks very much for that. Now, before we go, a reminder of the day's main news story. Parliament will be recalled tomorrow to debate an emergency law to try to save British Steel's plant in Scunthorpe. A government source says it's looking to take control of the company after its Chinese owner said its blast furnaces were no longer financially sustainable. Well, that's it for now. I'm back at 10:30 with our late news on BBC One. But before then, if you're one of the many people who argues whether places like Orpington is in London or Kent, or if Kingston upon Thames is in Surrey or London, then go to bbc.co.uk/London, where Anaya Richards has been to Romford to see if she can end the debate of whether the town is in Essex or London. It's a really good watch. Take a look if you can. For now, though, do have a very good evening. Bye-bye.